Hey, welcome in everybody. This is Jared here with another concert review. I'm here with my mom.
Hi.
We just went and saw Rise Against and Papa Roach in Tampa at the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater. This is our second time at this venue. First time was last year for Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, this concert kind of arose from a coworker telling me about it, and basically, Papa Roach is a band that you're a big fan of.
Correct. There's a lot of songs that I really like of theirs, and especially a couple that are playing on the radio right now. So, yes, this was a must-go-to concert for me.
And her and I have gotten a lot closer over the last few years. My dad passed away in 2022, and this happens to be the third anniversary of that date. So it was just meant to be for us to go to this concert. My fandom of Papa Roach and Rise Against, basically on my playlist I have one song from each band. Actually, I have two songs from Papa Roach. I have The Last Resort and Leave a Light On, which is a song my mom introduced me to a few months ago. And for Rise Against, I have The Good Left Undone. I definitely knew them from the Madden video game back in the day, and Papa Roach, just hearing them on the radio. And the only other thing a couple other things I can remember from Papa Roach, I remember the lead singer was on this show called Scarred on MTV back in the day. I think it was MTV. And they also had another song that was on a NASCAR video game. And I was hoping that they would play it in this concert, but basically went ahead and bought the tickets, got middle, like not lower bowl, kind of like the middle of the venue, right in the middle, also like kind of behind the sound mix. We couldn't really see the sound mix, but it was basically the section right before the lawn. On the way over there was definitely some traffic, and it definitely added to the time. A little disappointed in myself because I just need to get better about strategizing about what time to leave and stuff, because I kind of knew very quickly that we were going to be missing probably some of the concert. What was the opening act's name? Under Oath?
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunately I missed the exit, and we had to go to a different entrance of the venue that I wasn't used to. I remember last time we went, it was so easy just to get right in the venue, and I remember parking was free, got out and just walked right up to the venue within a few minutes, and it was just super easy and simple. But this go around, it was not as easy at all. There was a ton of traffic and not a lot of workers at the place, and it was a little frustrating just because it was like standstill traffic a lot of the time, and once again we're already late getting there, so that just added to the kind of anxiety. But
and it cost $25 for the parking.
Yep, and that was disappointing for sure, but finally got parked. The temperature was about 82 and it felt like 86. It was kind of windy out, and it was cloudy, but there was kind of the sky was like really beautiful when we got out of the car. And we started walking to the entrance, and tons and tons and tons of cars and tons of fans heading to the venue. And once again, what was different about this experience compared to the last one, it took a lot longer to walk up to the venue.
It did. It was almost like going to a NASCAR race. It was at least a mile from our car to get to the entrance of the venue.
But luckily they did have a tram that we eventually did get on, and that definitely saved some time, so that was nice. But we got to the venue and got inside. We could hear the fans cheering inside the amphitheater, and we could hear music playing. We could tell that the opening act had come on, and it was interesting because when I bought the tickets, they were very adamant about Papa Roach and Rise Against, but that's all that they were saying. I didn't read anything about anyone else, but there was an opening act for the co-headliners, and that was Under Oath. So when we got in the venue, we could hear them playing, but we never actually got to our seats and saw them or listened to them. So unfortunately for this review, if anyone was wondering what our thoughts were on Under Oath, we really did not see or hear them at all. But got in the venue, and at this point it's dark out, and wanted to check out the merchandise. And they had a good variety of merchandise for Under Oath, Rise Against, and Papa Roach. So this co-headlining tour is called the Rise of the Roach Tour, which I thought was pretty humorous. And because I'm not a big Papa Roach or Rise Against fan yet, I did not have a major interest in getting a shirt like I normally do. If it was something I was super interested in, something I liked, and it had the date and it was very specific to the show, maybe I would have, but there was none of that.
I will say that I didn't get one either. It was only because the line was so long. And but I did want to say that I thought the shirts were reasonably priced.
The shirts I saw were like $45, which I think is pretty typical right now for the concert t-shirts. But I did see something that did catch my interest a little bit. They had a poster, Papa Roach poster for the tour, the Rise of the Roach tour, with all the tour dates and everything, and it was only $25, so I thought that was nice, and I was like, I'm gonna grab that. I accidentally cut the line. I actually didn't mean to cut the line, and then the security guy immediately got my attention, and he was not happy with me, and definitely had a tone, and maybe taking his job a little too seriously. And
the only security guy working that night.
Right, that's what it seemed like. So that was a little frustrating, just because like it was a genuine mistake, and I understand he has a job to do, which is fine, but he was making an assumption that I was just cutting the line to cut the line. I actually didn't realize I was cutting the line. Right. So I got to the...
Actually, that's a good point, because there was lines all over the place, and there was no organization. Like, they did not have anybody guide you to the right place or anything.
So I got to the back of the line, and luckily the line moved fairly quickly, and went ahead and got the poster. They didn't have bags for the poster or anything, but luckily they did have rubber bands, which was nice. Sometimes the venues don't have that, so that was cool. After we got the poster, we could kind of hear that, at some point during all of the last few minutes, we could tell that the Under Oath had finished, and that it was the intermission in between Under Oath and the next act, which I wasn't 100% sure if it was going to be Papa Roach or Rise Against next. I was really hoping to be Rise Against, in case I were to miss some of it, or us. I mean, this whole thing was mainly for you and the date and everything, and if anything, I wanted to make sure we saw the whole Papa Roach set. That was the main thing. But there was this sign that was really cool that they had up on the wall. That was just a white sign with black letters, just talking about the acts that were playing that night and the date and everything. So got some pictures of that I'm probably going to use as the preview picture for my vlog, and also got some pictures in front of the sign, even though the person who took the pictures didn't take very good pictures, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about what we were wearing. We both wore our Red Hot Chili Peppers shirts that we got last year at this specific venue. When we were taking pictures of the sign, that's when Rise Against started. So we did miss some of the Rise Against set, the beginning of their set, but went up the steps and started to walk inside the actual amphitheater, and definitely a little bit challenging to find our seats, especially because one thing, they don't have very good lighting like during the acts, I guess. It was just kind of hard to see like where exactly we were. You would think that they would just have some of the seats lit up, or like some of the signage lit up next to the sections and the rows and all that stuff. Like I had to turn my flashlight on to see where the heck we were. So that was a little frustrating, but eventually got to our seat. So yeah, we were section 14, row double D, seats 37 and 38. Got to our seats, and definitely some open seats, but for the most part the amphitheater was extremely packed. It holds about 20,000 people, which is pretty crazy. I didn't think it held that many, but it definitely does. When we were here last year, we were actually in the pit for Red Hot Chili Peppers, so this is definitely a very different vantage point this go around. But yeah, I would say, like, once again, also about the seats, just the lack of personnel working the venue to guide anyone anywhere. You're really kind of like, you had to figure it out yourself. But I would say all this stuff kind of, for me, gave me a lot of anxiety. I'll be honest with you. It made me kind of emotional and frustrated, and a lot of it was self-induced by not planning out, getting there on time the best. But some of the other stuff definitely also contributed to it. So once we got to the seat, it took me a little bit to kind of calm down and like just get into the show. But yeah, Rise Against was they probably were in their third song by the time we got to their set. And man, what were your thoughts on Rise Against set?
I thought the singer sounded amazing. 20 years later, and he sounds just like he did 20 years ago, in my opinion, just from the couple songs that I knew.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I thought the singer sounded great. And I agree with everything you said. It's crazy after all these years he can still sound that good. I would say he was like the main focus for me for Rise Against, was him and his singing. I can't say any of the other members really like did anything to blow me away, or I wasn't really ever honed in on them during the concert. A lot of the set, they had their logo up on the back above the drum riser, and at one point I remember asking you what you thought of the logo. So tell me what you thought of the logo again.
It looked like it said rat.
Yeah, I didn't really like the logo. Not a big deal or anything, but just an observation. But yeah, they did fine. I remember they played a new song, which I thought was one of the better songs of the set list. And they even did another song. I don't know if it was the last song. It was one of the last songs, I believe, that I did recognize too. So that was cool. And there were definitely a good amount of people there, I think, mainly for Rise Against.
Yeah, I agree. I saw a lot of Rise Against shirts, and everybody knew the words. And that was mind-blowing to me.
The people that were down a couple rows in front of us, they were really, really into Rise Against too. And I'll be honest, I was kind of like,
focused on them.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that, like, when I'm at a concert and I'm not super familiar with the artist, sometimes I get caught up people watching, and that's kind of entertaining to me. So how into the show they were was very awesome to see, and it was funny and fun, and yeah, it was just interesting to kind of people watch a little bit during their set.
I agree, and to see for me, the people watching was to see all the different outfits that everybody was wearing. Like the girls had the typical like stockings with the boots and the leather on and stuff, and the guys with their rock t-shirts and jeans and everything. But there was some really, really interesting outfits out there.
Definitely. I think it's like interesting how like some girls nowadays will just like have their ass out. They don't care at all.
Oh my God, I was thinking the same thing.
It's like so common now. Like it's just, it's just totally fine. Even in everyday life, I've noticed. But yeah, definitely, it's definitely interesting.
And I don't think they meant to do it. I don't think they purposely put those on and said, I'm wearing these to have my ass hang out. I think they fell out at some point.
I think it is on purpose, actually. But yeah, observation of the crowd, I would say it was very Caucasian this go round, in my opinion.
It was very Caucasian, but there were some African Americans and some Hispanics in the crowd.
Really? I didn't really see any. I thought it was also funny that I saw like a lot of muscular women. And there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not like talking trash about that or anything. Like, good for them. Just an observation I made. Definitely saw some muscular women in the crowd.
I saw a lot of muscular men.
Yeah. So a lot of muscles in the crowd in general, I guess. So yeah, let's see. So Rise Against started probably around 7:45, and they played for what, an hour? Would you say?
About an hour and 15 minutes. I think it was around 9 o'clock when the lights went out.
Okay. So they had the intermission in between Rise Against and Papa Roach. Once again, happy that Rise Against ended up playing in the middle and not last. At one point, an airplane flew over. Wish I would have gotten a video of it, but it was a huge airplane that flew over right over the amphitheater, and everyone was looking up at it. And it was just like a cool little like moment. But I was really happy that they played my song. I wasn't sure if they're gonna play it. If I had to bet money, I figured they probably would have played it, but they did, like right in the middle of the set. And so that was really cool to get to see them live. Even though I thought like during the chorus they were playing kind of fast. I kind of wish they would have slowed down a little bit and just got a little bit more in sync, but just being a little nitpicky. But so that was pretty much it for Rise Against. It was interesting during the intermission for after Rise Against, before Papa Roach, we realized that we knew somebody that was a couple rows down, and it was a coworker that we're familiar with. So it was weird because when we went to Red Hot Chili Peppers last year, we ran into a coworker, and then it happened again this year. So it's something about this venue. Speaking of the venue, real quick, I just remembered. So typically they have the roof over the amphitheater, but they didn't this time because of hurricane season or hurricane damage, something relating to the hurricanes. But there was no roof this time, and honestly, it was a lot cooler than it was last year for the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, and I'm sure like not being in the pit also helps. But yeah, I even thought at times it was a little chilly up there.
I agree. I had gotten a shaved ice when we first got up to the seats, and I was shivering because the wind had picked up, and I was cold. But on the other hand, I was like so relieved that it wasn't raining and that it was nice and the weather wasn't too hot. So I was okay with it.
Yeah, after a little while, I got comfortable. I didn't have any issues. But
I think it's because the wind died down. The wind wasn't as much.
Yeah, that's a good point. So eventually, I would say it was like a 15-20 minute break or whatever. Eventually, this like blonde woman goes out on the stage, and she introduced Papa Roach, and they came on, and yeah, the crowd was hyped. The crowd was super into it, and they started the set off with a bang, and very interesting to watch them. I remember one of my first observations with them, I never like really thought about it or realized how much of a rap kind of delivery the lead singer has. And I apologize for not saying like the lead singer's name on either of these bands. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with them, but yeah, the lead singer has a very like rap delivery on his vocals, which is one of those things I kind of like subconsciously noticed but never really analyzed until tonight. So I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's why I like them, because they remind me at times of like Rage Against the Machine and that kind of music. So you get rock, but you also get that in Lincoln Park and all that. You get that type of rock from it, and I like it. So
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of around that same time. I mean, Papa Roach was really big in like the 2000s. I mean, I guess Rage Against the Machine was more 90s, but like Linkin Park was like 2000s, that new metal era when you're talking about Limp Bizkit and Korn and everything.
Yeah.
But overall, what'd you think of the show?
I liked Rise Against, and I knew some of the songs, but I really, 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 really liked Papa Roach. He was just so amped the entire show. He was so grateful. He got down in the crowd. He was interactive. They were all just so happy to play, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, once again, I would say for Papa Roach, once again, I think like the show is really the singer. I can't say I was super focused on any of the other members. I mean, they did at one point have like a little bass and drum solo thing near the end of the set, but for the most part, really honed in on the singer. He was the show, and man, like you said, what a character. He is such a front man. He's a showman, super energetic. He's funny. He's a man of faith. He's been with his wife for 20 plus years, you know, very committed, genuine guy.
Brought his son out on the stage to shoot out t-shirts to the crowd.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So that was cool. That kind of reminds me of David Draymond.
Yeah.
When we just saw Disturbed in Sunrise a few months ago, kind of similar thing there. But he sounded great. I don't have any issues. I thought his voice sounded a little bit different than what I remember from the 2000s, but I thought he definitely sounded great still.
I agree. His rapping was, I mean, he didn't miss any words as far as I could tell. If he did, it was so professional, I could not even tell.
Right. And even in the beginning of the set, I was actually wondering, I'm like, are they like lip syncing? Is this like a studio version? That's how good it sounded to me. But yeah, they definitely had some blinding white lights, which I think are cool, but definitely blinding, and they can kind of obstruct your view for like a few seconds at times because of how blinding they are. It reminds me of The Warning. We saw The Warning a few months ago, and they opened the show with some really white blinding lights. But yeah, you mentioned how he went in the crowd. He went in the crowd multiple times, and I've never seen that live. I thought that was super, super awesome. And talk about a way to interact with the fans. I've seen it on videos and stuff of like other artists and stuff like that, but never seen it live. So that was really cool. Glad I got some videos of that. Definitely didn't come up to our area or anything, but he was definitely in the lower bowl.
Not only did he do that, but his voice was amazing the whole time he was doing it. You would think he would be out of breath or like stumble or his words or something, but he was just right on it the whole time. I loved it.
I agree. I was thinking the same exact thing when I was watching it. I was like, how is he not missing a note? How's he not missing a beat? Like
How's he not out of breath?
I was also thinking like, that's a little like dangerous. I just kind of wonder like what fans could say or do in that situation. I was kind of wondering at times like if they were going to get a little too rowdy and a little too touchy-feely, and if he was going to get like upset with someone or something like that. But he was all like up in the crowd. It wasn't just like the first couple rows. He was like in the middle of the lower bowl on both sides multiple times throughout the set.
I think he was trying to get to the mosh pit.
Yeah, that's a good transition. So there was another mosh pit at our concert. If you listened to our last review when we went to Buckethead a few weeks ago, there was a little mosh pit in that one, and it was the second ever mosh pit I've experienced. I didn't go in it, but I mean, I've been going to concerts for over a decade now, and I've only seen a mosh pit twice. So now I've seen a mosh pit 3 times and 2 times in the past few weeks, so that's pretty cool.
And if we would have been in the pit, I would have been in the mosh pit. I would have.
That would have been a lot of fun. It looked like a lot of fun down there for sure. And man, they were really into it. I remember like seeing this one dude with long hair, and he was just like so into it.
I agree. I think the guys were just as much into it as the girls, and sometimes you don't see that, so that was really cool too.
Yeah, but the mosh pit was going multiple times throughout the set. That was cool to see. Crowd was really into it for a lot of the set. A lot of devil. I mean, like I said, the lead singer, he's so good at commanding the stage and commanding the crowd and everything. A lot of the times he was just like getting the crowd to do the devil horns and getting them to put their hands up and to clap, and they even had a moment during one of the songs where he tells everyone to sit down. I've never experienced that before.
I know, right?
So we sat down, and then he's like, when the song kicks back in, I want everyone to jump up, and everyone did. And I remember you saying how fun that was.
Yeah, I think that was the most fun part of the whole concert, honestly, was we all sat down, and then I jumped as much as I could.
Yeah, you were really into the show. You were like dancing around and singing a lot of the songs. I didn't recognize a lot of the songs, but there were definitely a few songs I recognized, more than Rise Against, definitely. More songs. I recognized more songs for Papa Roach than Rise Against. There was even I think one song that I recognized that I didn't realize was them. So yeah, super cool. So there was a song called Leave a Light On that you introduced me to a few months ago, and you've been playing it a lot, and I know we've been talking a lot about are they going to play it, and you were pretty confident they were going to play it, right?
I was very confident they were going to play it, but they tricked me.
Well, explain.
So he started off a song with a video of suicide prevention and what his band, how they are involved and how they support that, and talking about how he was once one of those people, and this video was leading into the song that he was talking about. And I knew for sure it was Leave a Light On, and it wasn't.
That's a great transition to the next thing I want to talk about. He was very, very open and honest about his struggles with alcohol and suicidal thoughts and stuff like that back in the day. He mentioned how he's been sober for over a decade now. I think it was over 13 years, which I thought was awesome. But one of the main things about this show was they were very, very big on suicide prevention and putting the suicide prevention phone number up there, and he was just sharing his experience and his stories and everything. And even at one point he did a tribute to Chester Bennington and said rest in peace Chester Bennington, and just talking about him and how much he misses him and everything. A lot of the times throughout the show he would look up at the sky, and he was just very, very emotional. And also, speaking of Chester Bennington, they did a little Linkin Park snippet at one point. I think they did In the End, right? Yeah, so I did a little snippet of In the End, which was cool, a little tribute to Linkin Park and Chester Bennington. But man, I just thought that was really awesome, and I thought it got a great crowd reaction, just how open and honest he was about everything, and how he really used his platform for such a good cause.
And I think that's one of the reasons that I took to him so much, and that's why I like his song so much, is because it was so personal to him, and he wants to help other people with it. It just led me to research more songs from Papa Roach, and in the process I realized how many songs I actually knew, and a lot of his songs deal with that suicide or the mental health or that kind of thing. So it made me pay attention a little bit more.
Yeah, so super awesome. Got to give him major props. I really admire him for that. So eventually they get to leave a light on, and they kind of came out there, and they got close together on the middle of the stage and got the acoustic guitar out there, and they busted into Leave a Light On. So what'd you think of that performance?
I loved it. It was absolutely beautiful. I sang every word of it that I could remember, and it sounded as good as on the radio. I was very impressed with it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Sounded great. Speaking of the sound, just a little side note, I thought it was very loud in the amphitheater. That was one thing I wish, I don't know, wish it wasn't as loud maybe. But yeah, leave a light on. It was interesting. They had everyone pull their flashlights out, which is like, once again, I've talked about this in other videos. It's just kind of funny that they, like a lot of a lot of concerts in general, they do the, have the pull the flashlight out, and they even did it during Rise Against too. So yeah, so they had the light, everyone's light on, everything.
One other thing I want to say about that performance is it actually reminded me of the Disturbed performance when he did Sound of Silence.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking the same thing. I know the Sound of Silence is very, very emotional, and it means a lot to me and my mom and my dad and everything. It's like it's a song that my dad was a big fan of, a song that you're a big fan of, and I remember like it being a very emotional performance for you, and this definitely reminded me of that. It wasn't as emotional, but it was very emotional, and it meant a lot for us. I did tear up from it.
I didn't cry like I did with Disturbed, but I did tear up with this song, with Leave the Light On.
So glad they played it.
Me too. I would have been so disappointed if they played, even if they played all the other hits, if they wouldn't have played that one, I would have been disappointed.
So let's see, they played for about an hour and a half, and what were any other thoughts you had on the concert?
Actually, I was just gonna say that I had to go to work today, and when I got off work, I turned on the car and boom, Papa Roach is on. And guess which song was playing? I actually asked Jared, guess which song was playing? And he said, Leave the Light On, because when I come in, it's usually something that I've listened to recently or we're going to see recently or something. And the beginning of Papa Roach was that same exact song. I was so excited about that. It was like it was meant to happen. This whole thing was lined up to meant to happen.
Yeah, they had a lot of songs that they played. I wonder how many songs they played in total.
And they also played a new song, which I also like.
Yeah, what's it called? Brain Dead or something?
Yeah, Brain Dead.
And they said it's like number one, and it's like been number one for like a week or two, I think. Yeah, the lead singer, Papa Roach, he was just so interactive with the crowd, constantly talking. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to get too caught up in the moment, but like, honestly, all the concerts I've ever been to, I don't know if I've seen a singer that interactive with the crowd. Like, he was constantly talking to the crowd.
And he was happy, like energetic, not just talking to the crowd, but energetic and like full of it.
Yeah. So that's really cool, especially like at his age and everything, to like still have that much energy. And he was jumping around. He was like jumping off of the steps in the middle and stuff. Definitely a lot of smoke and fire. They had video boards up, which was nice also in relation to this amphitheater. Nice that they had the video boards. But yeah, he also had multiple costume changes throughout the show. He would wear like different shirts, sometimes like sleeveless shirts, sometimes like t-shirts. He had like a collared shirt, I remember at one point too. He's got tattoos all over. And then I remember near the end of the set, they had this section that they called Nu Metal Time Machine. So they started off, I think, with Korn. Then they went into like a little Limp Bizkit break stuff, did a little bit of System of a Down, and then he was going through the crowd during a lot of this once again. Then he gets back on the stage, and like in between each song, he would be like Nu Metal Time Machine, and they bust into the next song. So once he got back on the stage, he once again said Nu Metal Time Machine. You're thinking it's going to be another song from that era, and then they bust into The Last Resort, their last song of the set, their most popular song in their catalog, and it was great. Just the perfect song to end on. I figured they'd probably end on it, and they did. and crowd was just so into it. It was just the perfect way to end the show. What did you think about The Last Resort?
I thought that was the perfect way to end the show also. And also the crowd was like so loud, and like I think he enjoyed that so much.
I agree. He was constantly commenting on it, and man, the crowd was just singing a lot of the songs, and they just knew like a lot of the words to like all the songs. So yeah, overall, thought it was a really good show. I had a good time, even though I'm not super familiar with the artist. It was definitely a cool experience, and it was just meant to be with the anniversary of my dad's passing a few years ago, and just how big of a fan you are of Papa Roach, and just the time spent together. That's the most important thing. Glad we had that experience, and I'll just never forget it.
Me too. I had the best time. It meant so much to me too. I am so happy that you let me talk about something else too, because I had anxiety about coming to the show. I got really emotional for a second because I didn't want to come 2 days before the concert because I had a lot of anxiety build up. I think part of it was because of the date, and part of it was the weather, part of it was the travel, part of it was work. But Jared talked me into going for numerous reasons, and I am so glad that Jared did that, because I got over some of those anxieties. And I'm emotional just because I'm proud of it. So thank you.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm glad that you were able to overcome your anxieties and we were able to have that experience together, because it was well worth it.
I would have missed out on all that just because of thoughts in my head, and you talked me into reason. And the weather was, it rained a little bit, but we didn't
on the way there.
Right, we didn't get rained on at the concert. The weather was gorgeous. We couldn't have asked for anything better, really.
Yeah, everything definitely lined up. So, any other final thoughts about the night in general?
No, I would do it all over again.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious if we're ever going to see them again. We'll see what happens in the future. I do remember on the way out, I saw another person that I'm familiar with, one of my friends named Dalton. Got to see him on the way out, so that was really cool. Got to see multiple people I knew. It's just crazy because we live hours away from the venue, so to see people that you know hours away is just like wild to me.
I do have one final thought. When we were leaving the amphitheater, everybody was still so into the show that there was a DJ that was playing, and he happened to be playing a System of a Down song.
It was the same one that they played
as we're leaving, and everybody starts singing. So everybody is singing as we're leaving the amphitheater.
He also played a little Limp Bizkit, and they're singing that too. So yeah, luckily getting out wasn't as big of an issue as like getting in, thank God. But yeah, that was it. Rise Against and Papa Roach with, what's the opening act?
Under Oath.
Under Oath, sorry. Opening for them. So yeah, another concert in the books, and just an awesome night all around. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you went to the concert, what'd you think? Please give me your thoughts. Are you a Rise Against fan? Are you a Papa Roach fan? Are you fans of both? What are your favorite songs of theirs? If you didn't go, have you been to other concerts of theirs? Yeah, just give me your thoughts. Contribute. I would greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I read every single comment, and I try to respond to every single comment. So I really, really hope that get some good feedback on this video. So that's pretty much it. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.